the key Nord Stream pipeline is closing for 3 days next week to get repairs. But some are worried it won't return after the work is finished. And now there's growing concern that supply chain issues will worsen across the globe, including right here at home. So joining me in studio to talk about what Utah businesses need to watch out for with all of this is Jim Porter with the World Trade Center Utah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jillian.
So with all these changes happening in the global market, what would you say is the biggest cause for concern in terms of our economy here that you're seeing right now?
There are some enormous transitions happening at a global scale around a retreat from globalization, energy supply shortages like we're talking about. All these are affecting Utah businesses in different ways, but primarily it's making it harder to make decisions. There's deep uncertainty about what's happening in the markets, how different economies are responding to things like inflation, how they're raising interest rates, how we're seeing shortages in China of power, and also geopolitical tensions affect our ability to get your couches here and otherwise to get the kinds of components and materials we need to be able to run our economy and grow.
Absolutely. And so with all these changes, you know, they're not expected to go away anytime soon. They're expected to keep happening as things continue. What are you suggesting these Utah businesses who are being impacted by this do?
Well, first and foremost, these businesses need to get better sources of information. A new McKinsey study showed that boards of organizations that were performing well over the last few years all took the time and resources to go and find better sources of information to help them make decisions. Companies should also be thinking about how to diversify, particularly if you have critical components or materials that are single sourced out of China. You really need to think about building redundant capacity, getting out to some extent from China so that you're not running the risk if they decide to shut down a factory, for example.
Okay, and in terms of the issues that they're faced with, I know there's so many of them, but what would you say the biggest one is for Utah businesses that you're seeing? Is it the rise in prices? Is it supply chain issues? What is it?
Supply chain disruptions and labor shortages. On supply chain disruptions, you've been hearing about this for it seems like years now, but even this year in 2022, supply chain disruptions, factory shutdowns, congestion at ports is up by 46% over last year. So while we may be seeing less congestion at places like Long Beach and the Port of LA, we're also seeing more congestion in the Gulf ports and in the East Coast. It's becoming harder and harder to find ways to get your goods here to Utah fast.
Absolutely, and so I know there's no crystal ball, but is there any idea of when those problems are going to ease for these businesses?
Well, here's what I'll say about that. All these transitions are long-term. We're not exactly sure if tomorrow or in a month or in a year we're going to see an economy that looks a little bit like it did pre-pandemic. The question that's on all our minds right now is, will we return to some kind of normal, or are we living in a new environment of increased volatility?
Absolutely. And so what resources are available to these businesses and business owners?
I would say come and talk to us at World Trade Center Utah. The whole point of having a World Trade Center that's located here in Salt Lake and services the entire state is that we can provide you better information and the kinds of global connections to help you make smart decisions about what your business is doing right now and where you should go in the future.
Okay, so you suggest they come visit you in person, or can they do this online? How do they go about doing that?
Absolutely. Come and visit us at WTCUtah.com. Reach out directly to us, and we'll support your business however we can.
That is awesome, and I know it's a lot of information to digest this morning. We're going to have it all on our website at abc4.com/GMU. But again, talking live with Jim Porter with the World Trade Center Utah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jillian.